This is our exclusive first look at the all-new PROTON Saga. At the heart of the new Saga is a brand new 4-cylinder engine dubbed the IGT, which is shared somewhat with the Proton X50. Without a turbocharger, this car produces about 120 horsepower and 150 Newton meters of torque, with that power going to the front wheels either via a 4-speed automatic gearbox or, in this flagship model, a CVT automatic instead. Now, in terms of the overall power efficiency, they claim that this car is now 14% more fuel efficient than before, while also providing better NVH and reliability. Proton is also keen to point out that this is the very first engine for the Saga that will utilize a timing chain over a timing belt, which they say has been reliability tested to last the lifetime of the engine. Now, the new PROTON Saga is built off of a brand new platform, which is more of an evolution of the existing platform, which is now dubbed AMA, or Advanced Modular Architecture. AMA will be utilized in more compact vehicles from the Proton brand coming soon, and it is said to be exportable out into Geely models for markets that require something this compact. Of course, being an all-new generation, the new Saga also packs an all-new design. As you can see up front, there are full LED headlights on the majority of the models, replete with this new Sungkit weave pattern that stretches from one end all the way to the other in order to emphasize the width of this vehicle. Moving further down, as you can see, this car no longer has fog lights at all, no matter which grade you go for, making a much cleaner front end, which again is aimed to emphasize this car's maturity and, of course, this car's overall width. The bonnet has also been redesigned, again, in order to move those elements a little bit further out to make this car and give this car a slightly wider, more impactful visual presence on the road. And overall, the front end treatment of this car is pretty decently mature, given the fact that this is ultimately an evolution of the existing vehicle. Now, because the AMA platform is an evolution of the existing platform for the Saga, it means that certain hard points for this car have not changed. So things like, for example, the dimensions of the wheelbase have remained exactly the same. The same goes to the mounting points for the A pillar, B pillar, and C pillar, because as you can see, this car's overall profile remains relatively familiar. In terms of rolling stock, you get a set of 15-inch alloy wheels for this flagship model, and the design is actually shared with the lower grade variant. It's just the finishing that is slightly different. Of course, there's also the entry-level model, where the sizes go down to 14 inches. Rolling stock is also handled by a set of Atlas AS380 tires, identical to the ones on the existing Saga. However, these tires now come with some sort of noise suppression technology, which Proton says will be able to reduce NVH on this car quite considerably. As we move further down, as you can see, we now get keyless entry and go almost standard across the lineup. It should encompass the majority of the models. And the overall design of the side has not really changed all that much, because again, this is merely an evolution of the existing car. That said, however, from this view, you can see the fact that the boot has been reprofiled ever so slightly in order to integrate not only a redesigned rear end, but also this new LED light bar. As you can see, the tail end of the new Saga has been reprofiled to make this car look and feel a lot more fresh. You get a set of full LED tail lights replete with an LED light bar for this flagship model, because when you go lower down the lineup, you lose this piece. And frankly, the replacement for this looks quite naff. You also still get a bulb type third brake light for reasons I cannot fully comprehend, but at least you do get a newly reprofiled rear bumper, again made to emphasize the width of this car and reduce the visual mass. But you also get IGT badging here and of course Saga badging on that side in order to complete the rear end look. I do think the new Saga does look pretty good, and despite the fact that this car is being built off of the existing platform and the existing chassis, an evolution of which at least, this car does look and feel fighting fresh. Now, behind this tailgate, where you will find an electronic popper only for the flagship model, you will find a pretty good amount of space. The Saga has never really struggled in terms of practicality, and for this model, that hasn't really changed at all. The space is quite large and quite cavernous, and there is also a space-saver spare wheel underneath the boot floor. The rear seats can be folded in a singular bench, and there is a little bit of a ridge, but again, for consumers within this price point, this is broadly what people expect, and so that is exactly what the Saga aims to provide. No real changes when none have been required. Now, the interior of the new Saga has been thoroughly reworked. There isn't a single panel in here, at least as far as I can tell, that is shared with the existing model. The big update comes in terms of the dashboard architecture, which now sees these pillbox style air conditioning vents 4 of them mounted across the dash face, and the integration of this sort of wave-like material on both the dash front as well as on the door cards themselves in order to give this car a slightly more sort of cohesive visual design, which I think does look decently good. We also get a new gear selector here, very similar to what we've seen from other Proton models, but the printing of it is quite crap. But at least we still get physical controls here, which is nice to see. Now, beyond that, the big change for this car comes in terms of the overall technology, which Proton is very keen to point out integrates a lot of first-in-class features. So for example, we now get a fully digital instrument cluster right up front, which gives you all the information that you need, displayed in a manner that is very, very easy for you to read. And this also now integrates wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, a first for the Malaysian A segment. On top of that, this user interface has been completely redesigned and refettled for the Saga, which means that in terms of its overall operations, this does work the way you'd expect it to. No funny business, no weird surprises. That's exactly what you want to see from a vehicle like this. And because it integrates a lot of the majority of this car's functions, it does mean that having all the information displayed in a way that's very easy for you to understand is exactly what you want. Now, moving beyond that, this car also seems to offer automatic headlights with automatic high beam as part of this car's updated safety systems, but that we'll touch on a little bit later. More importantly, there is a brand new steering wheel here, the design of which is shared with vehicles like the Proton X50, etc., which now also offers proper adjustment, apparently, of height. However, in terms of reach, that remains exactly the same, which is unfortunate because despite this seat set up in the lowest possible position, I can already see that the edges of this screen are being clipped by the steering wheel. Now, as we move further down, there are a couple of cup holders. Yes, everything in here is exactly as you'd expect. And overall, I feel that this interior does look and present itself in a much more sophisticated fashion compared to the existing vehicle. But ultimately, this is still a Saga, which means that certain economy points had to be met. And overall, for a car that is going to be competing in the sub 50,000 ringgit space, I think this interior is quite commendable nonetheless. Now, with this seat set up in my driving position, about 170 centimeters, as you can see, I have a pretty good amount of knee room and a pretty decent amount of headroom, despite these rear seats not having been overly redesigned for this new generation model. But Proton has been quite intelligent in terms of this overall interior packaging. So for example, now that the door cards have been reprofiled, that's actually freed up a little bit more width-ways space in here in order to make this car feel a little bit more spacious. And despite the front seat set up in its lowest possible position, there's still plenty of space to tuck my feet in underneath the seat in front of me, which is great because I don't have that much in terms of under-thigh support. I also don't have that many amenities back here, which means I only have a small pocket in the door, some pockets behind the front seats, a singular cup holder in the middle, replete with a couple of USB ports. While there aren't that many amenities back here, as far as packaging is concerned for this price point, the Saga is pretty hard to fault. One key upgrade for this new generation Saga comes in terms of active safety, because it's finally able to offer some. Now, thanks to a monocular camera mounted right at the top of the windscreen, as well as some radars mounted in the rear bumper, this car now offers what they're describing as level 1 active safety features, which means that this car now offers things like autonomous emergency braking, replete with pedestrian and cyclist detection, rear cross traffic alert with safe exit warning, as well as things like automatic headlights with automatic high beam, a first, again, for the Proton Saga. All of this for what is ultimately billed as one of the most affordable, if not the most affordable, A-segment saloon on the market. Now, of course, we are also going to take this car out to drive to figure out just a little bit in terms of this car's dynamics as well as the functionality of this car's active safety features, so be sure to stay tuned for that video. And that concludes the media preview of the all-new Proton Saga. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, hit the little bell icon to be notified every time we make a new upload. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And if you hit the link in the description below, you can also join our new WhatsApp channel so that you stay up to date with the very latest developments from the Malaysian automotive industry. Thank you so much for watching. We'll catch you in the next one. Take care and stay safe.